Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to another week. So, what if life you are trying to get back to? You're trying very hard to get back to that life, that old life, is the one that God is asking you to leave behind. But we tend to do that. So, welcome to today's program. When you can't go back, but become who God is calling you to be. And you can't go back. We have this tendency where we want to go back. We want to go back. We don't want to go forward. But we reflect before we go forward. So let me ask you again. What if in life you are trying so hard to get back to is the very life that God is asking you to leave behind? Because you see, when life changes unexpectedly, like it did for me in so many ways, one of our first instincts is often to try to go back. We just want to go back to the person we were, back to the life we had, back to the old relationships which wasn't working, back to the career that we so desperately wanted. Like I didn't want to move forward. I just want to stick with the spa and do all the things, to health and wellness. Back to the confidence we once had. There's so many back. We want to go back to the body we had or the body we didn't have because we probably lost confidence. Back to the financial security we once knew. We want to go back to the disappointments. We're thinking about the loss, what we have lost, the betrayal, everything we want to go back to before this. I had friends who betrayed me, and I didn't want to leave that behind. I wanted to be there because why? You want to be in that framework, in that network, but it's not working. So why do you want to go back? When you think about my diagnosis when I found out about breast cancer, did I want to go back? You probably want to think back of how life should have been or what it could have been. But everything has changed. Everything changed. And when everything changed, we just have to move on with our life. Going back is not the answer, but understanding where God wants to take you and going in that direction is the way we ought to go. I can give you lots of examples, in the biblical Bible, that people going back. Abraham was told to go to that place. Follow me, I'll take you somewhere. He didn't think about going back. However, when God directed the Israelites, they wanted to go back to Egypt under slavery because they missed the food, they missed this, they missed that, they missed the other. So we have to think about, when we're thinking about going back, what are we going back for? What are we going back for? Because there might be nothing good there. When I left my first marriage, because going back was either death I made a decision that I was not ready to die. I made a decision that 6 feet deep wasn't what God intended for me. I still had a lot to do. I still had so much to do, so much to see, so much to enjoy, so much to give. Why did I want to go back? When somebody told me, I'm going to bring a gun home. If you're bringing a gun home for what? To shoot what? Because we weren't living in the forest. There's no forest there. It's just us in an apartment. So, hey, we don't look to go back. So today, I want to ask you if what you are not supposed to get your old life back. Why do you want your old life back? What if resilience isn't always about returning to who you were? What if that season is over? Because we have different seasons. And in those seasons comes different nourishment, different, we have different vitamins, different everything that we have. So why do you want to go back? You have to discover new seasons. It's inviting you to, yeah, we probably don't like winter. Some of us don't like summer, especially now with the heat. It's so hot. We don't want to cope with that. But who you are becoming is so much more, so much better. Hello, and welcome to the Unstoppable Life with Verna Haywood. I am your host, and this is a safe place for us to have a conversation which will be unfolding from what you used to know. You know, we talked about setbacks, we talk about when God redirects us, we talk about the mess in the message, receiving that message. And today we want to go a little bit deeper. So I want to ask you, when God redirects us, can there be a message hidden in the message? I asked you that last week. I'm asking you again. And today I want to take that conversation one step further. Because once we get redirected, you cannot spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, trying to get back where you were. See, I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. But in order for me to go forward, I have to reflect on where I have been. And most importantly, what did that taught me? What was the lesson I learned in that moment? You see, at some point, we have to ask ourselves, where am I going? You know, you're going on a journey and you probably get lost and you're thinking, oh, where am I going again? You have to wonder, where am I going? And oh, yeah, this is the place that I'm going. And perhaps, just perhaps, even more importantly, who am I becoming? So who are you becoming? So today we are going to talk about when you can't go back, becoming who God has called you to be. That's very, very important. Because you see, we want to do all sorts. When God calls us, when we are called, we can listen like Abraham did. We can listen like Joseph did, even though nobody wanted to believe him because why? He was the last or the second to last. And who are you to tell us that we are going to bow down to you? You know, we have that tendency. Somebody comes to us with a message, and who are you? Who do you think you are? We don't stop to listen. And there is something very important about listening. We hear, but we don't listen. But is in the listening you will get the message. So for years we have heard resilience described as the ability to bounce back. Something happened, we fall, we recover, we bounce back. One of the things about my name, Verna. Verna means spring green. I spring back. So spring is my moment where I spring into being. I have a beautiful name. So when I think about my name, about being a spring, springing back, that when you look at spring, what the leaves are green, they are like yellow, and then they turn to a deeper green, and then you get a deepest, deepest, deepest green. That's a beautiful time. So when we bounce back, like somebody said, you don't bounce back, you bounce forward. I try to remember his name. He's one of the speakers. But anyway, and supposedly we return to normal. But I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you at that definition today. Because what happens when normal no longer exists? What happens when normal no longer exists? What happens? Where do we go? We fumble. I want to leave you with that for a moment. I hope you bring your pen and paper as I've asked you to. Every week you need to bring pen and paper because there are going to be some questions for you to go back and think about. What happens when the experience you have been through has changed you? What happens? It changes you for the good. Some people, they don't accept the good, they accept the other way. But I accept the good, and I'm sure you do too. So some experience in life leave us different. Loss can change us. Grief can change us. Parenthood can change us. Relationships can change us. Divorce can change us. Illness can change us. And career can change us. But also failures. When we fail at something, when success didn't go the way we wanted to, when we get older, we're thinking, no, I don't want to get old. I want to stay young. But you can stay young. And I'll tell you how you can do that. You can stay young in your mind, the way you think, your thought process. He said, as a man thinketh, so is he. So, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Your faith can change you. If you look at Isaac and Abraham, told him, you'll have a son. When he had the son, he was told, I want you to sacrifice that son. Bring him up to Mount Moriah. And okay, okay, if you say so. And he went. And Isaac went. And what happened? He bound Isaac, put him on the altar. How in God's name this child didn't run? Eh? Normally you would run and you'll scream, blah, blah, blah. Dad want to kill me, whatever. And then dad is thinking, what's going to happen with my son? But it's faith. Faith as small as a mustard seed. When you have that faith and that faith is grounded and you know that, hey, this has been given to me and I am going to have faith. I'm going to trust God with what He's saying to me and I'm going to believe Him for that. So sometimes life changes us so profoundly that returning to who we were or the person we were before that is not possible. So when we listen to something that is different, that doesn't mean to damage. Sometimes it means development. You're becoming wiser. One of the things that I ask, give me more wisdom. I want wisdom, I want knowledge, and I want understanding. Because in getting wisdom, in getting knowledge, and in getting understanding, I will get everything else. I'll get the long life. I'll get the prosperity. I will look fresh. I will look renewed because my mind is renewed. My heart is set. So sometimes it means becoming stronger, and sometimes it means more discerning. You become more discerning of where you are and where you're going. And sometimes it may mean you have finally discovered your boundaries because we all have to have boundaries. We have to set boundaries. And it's in those boundaries that we will discover who we are. If you don't set boundaries, then people will do whatever they want. So sometimes it means you have to stop. You just have to stop. Stop what you're doing and take a look. Am I in the right direction? Am I going in the right place? And then you have to accept that once you tolerate something, you tolerate it and you keep tolerating it. Sometimes it's difficult to say no. So you have to put those boundaries in place. Without boundaries, people will do what they want. You know, we have certain boundaries with God as well. He gave us direction, but then He said, do this or don't do that. And we have to listen. And when we listen, that's when we gain a deeper understanding. So perhaps when I talk about resilience, so perhaps resilience isn't always about bouncing back. It isn't always about that. Resilience is perhaps sometimes means bouncing forward. Like I said, I can't remember the speaker name at the moment, but he said bounce forward. I didn't take it from him. Okay? I just look at the word and what it says and how you bounce back, you bounce forward. So sometimes resilience means bouncing forward. Moving forward, carry wisdom. Carry wisdom of the experiences without allowing experience to become your identity. That's not your identity. But what it allows you, it says that distinction matters. So you're forming a distinction between what was and what is. Because if your definition is healing, it must become exactly who I was before this happened. No. You spend years chasing a woman or a man who does not exist. That's gone. This is the new, it's a new life, a new beginning. And you spend years chasing. What if the healing is not about finding the old you? But what if the healing is about finding the new you? It's like me. You know, I had to find me. I had to find the new me, not the old me. Otherwise, I'd have been doing the same thing all over again and getting nowhere. You have to do something new. You have to fit into the place where you need to be. So what if you have to acknowledge that you don't want to be that anymore? So there is grief in becoming. We understand that. We understand grieving the loss of someone we love. We understand that. But sometimes we grieve a version of ourselves. And maybe it's time to just let go of that version and to move forward. Just want to take a break at this moment. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and revisit why we want to grieve what is gone.
What happens when life tries to break you? When the pain is unimaginable, the losses are overwhelming, and every step forward feels impossible. There comes a moment, a choice. Will you surrender or will you rise? From breast cancer survivor to survivor of domestic abuse to inspiring thousands around the world, Verna Haywood shares a deeply personal journey of courage, healing, and transformation. This isn't just a story about surviving, it's about rediscovering your purpose, reclaiming your voice, and becoming stronger than the challenges you never asked for. Discover Unstoppable Resilience, Heal, Rise, and Reclaim Your Power by Verna Haywood. Continue the journey on the Unstoppable Life with Verna Haywood exclusively on USA Global TV and Radio.
Welcome back. So we talked about grieving the woman you used to be, that old version that you still want to go back to. When something is fresh and renewed that you could be. And you can take it from me. You don't want to go back there. You want to be enjoying the, the new beginning. You see, there are new beginnings. Every month is a new month, is a new beginning. We have so many opportunities. There's just so much opportunities to be the new you. You want to go back to be the woman who trusted easily. Well, probably not. Uh, I mean, some of you have children, so you want to go back to you probably empty nester or whatever, and you want to go back to the woman who the children trusted so much that you did everything for them. But what if that is no longer who you are called to be? What if that old relationship is no longer? What if the home that you had, you have to leave it and go somewhere else? Because I had to leave. I had to leave. I left with 100 pounds in a suitcase and started my life all over again. The woman who believed that life would unfold according to plan. It would not. You have a plan and it would not unfold. It didn't go the way you wanted, so you really want to get it back. But no, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's don't try to resurrect what is not supposed to be resurrected, but let's go forward with what is we are being directed to. We need to honor that. We need to honor who we are going to be. So when you look at Joseph and how he was put into a pit, then he was sold into slavery, then he went into prison, and then came out of prison and was the second in command in Egypt. He saved everyone because there were 7 years of plenty and 7 years of nothing, and they all had to go to Egypt to get food. So I just want you to just think about those things for a moment. I know what I'm saying might be a bit deep, but if you take a look back and you reflect on the things that has happened to you, reflect on what went on in your life, you will see a lot of positive. You will see a lot of goodness. You will see a lot of growth that you've come through. It's not time to live in that old house. That old house is broken down, is cracked. You want to live in that new house where you can honor where the former version of you have gone. You see, Joseph did not stay there. He didn't, hold on to hate or grudges or anything like that. Oh, yes, they did what they did. They said what they said. It was what God has planned, and he accepted that. He accepted that there is something greater ahead. You see, when we can do that, when we can accept that there's something greater ahead, we will have a better life. We will understand that this is a new season, and that new season requires something different. It doesn't require the same. And that's what, unstoppable resilience is all about. There is so many different parts. And I often speak about one book, but actually there is a collection. There is a collection. I have three of them here with me. So you have the Unstoppable, the main book, and then you have a workbook, which takes you a little bit. So you can work at that along there with the main book, and you have a 30-day journal. We also have a 22-week journal, and we have some reflection therapy cards, which helps you to go deeper. So it's not about leaving you stranded. It's about taking you deeper. It all depends on you, how you want to reflect, how you want to revitalize your body, your mind, your spirit, and your soul. Nobody can do it for you. We have to do it ourselves. So when we take that, when we get into it and we understand what's happening, then we know what's going on. We know how to stay in that place and just grow and develop. So when I when I created it, or when the gift was given to me to create the book, it it just evolved because initially I wanted to tell you all the stories about what happened to me. It was all about what happened to Verna and how you can do this and how you can do that. But it took on a life of its own. So there are chapters on one of the biggest chapter is communication, learning how to communicate, how we communicate with one another. Because the resilient listener, listening, we back to listening again. So when we can listen and not just hear, when we listen, then we hear, then we understand. So the resilient communicator takes you to a place where you can truly understand how to listen, how to listen. So it goes a bit deeper because you see, we have four different communication styles. One is the innovator, you have the analytic, you have the producer, and you have um, the diplomat. So some of us could have all four. Some of us could have one. Some of us could have two or three of those. And I know I carry about three, but the main one is being a diplomat. I like bringing people together. I like seeing people have fun and learning of each other because that's where growth happens. It doesn't happen by itself. Again, we can see, being falsely imprisoned, being forgotten, being left aside. That didn't just happen to Joseph. David had the same issue with his brothers as well. So there isn't anything that we are experiencing now that didn't go on before. But you see, one of the things that I read this week was that the revelation that we have now, before the generation that went before us, they didn't get that revelation because they were seeking something different. But as Christ came and died for us and gave himself for us, we have a deeper understanding, a deeper revelation. And so that's one of the reasons why I ask for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because I want to be able to pass it on. I want you to understand that when you get into that place, You mysteries are being revealed to you. Mysteries. So when you read something, it's like you may have read it before, you may have read a book before, but you never capture something that is being revealed because you probably wasn't listening with your heart. You see, it's not just listening with our ears. We listen with our heart. We listen with our soul. And when we begin to do that, then we get a deeper understanding. We get that revelation. And then we think, oh, I didn't see that before. So when I read and I reread something and I get a deeper understanding, I want to pass it on because I've learned something new. And I don't just want to hold on to that. So we saw eventually when Joseph arrived at his position, hmm, he understood. Now is the moment he understood why he had that dream as a young man. See, but he couldn't stay there. He had to evolve. And so do we. You have to evolve. You have to get to that place where you can say, oh, I can look back and I can be, oh, that was important. So you see, sometimes God is asking us to get to a destination where He can develop us, where we can stand as a person we are becoming. So I love the stories. I love listening to the stories. I love bringing the stories into my life. So eventually he said to his brothers, what you meant to harm me, God meant for good. So what was meant to harm you, what was meant to harm me, didn't harm me. Yes, I had loss. Yes, I had grief. Yes, I had setbacks. Yes, all of those things happen. And you will continue to have setbacks. But it's how you proceed, how you go forward. And that's the essence. That's the essence of everything in our lives. So it depends on why we are looking. How can we look back and learn? How can you look back and say, my goodness, what just happened? How did I come through that? I'm sure you've done that before. You've been through the fire, you've been through something, and you're thinking, my gosh, how did that happen? How did I manage to get out of that? And that's the whole purpose. So when you can look back and see the hand of God in places where at times you couldn't see Him at all. You see, the danger is not remembering. The danger is remaining there. I mentioned that last week. That's where the danger is. When you remain there, the danger is not remembering, the danger is staying there. So as you continue to reflect, you see, reflection isn't about building a house in yesterday, it's about building the house in today. Reflection allows you, a reflection becomes your teacher, actually. It becomes your teacher. That's what it does. So when you reflect and you begin to revitalize your body, your mind, your spirit, and your soul, you will start asking yourself some different questions. They'll be tough questions, but it's questions that these would help you with. Because I believe in this era, in this time, we need to reflect. We need to renew our mind, our body, our spirit, and our soul. because that will help us with our friendship, that would help us with our relationship, that would help us with so many different things that we didn't understand about ourselves. So we are becoming a new version of who we are meant to be. So now you can ask, why am I trying to return there? Is it because it was truly good? No, it wasn't. But we just want to go back. We just want to keep going back. But I want you, as you reflect, as you reflect on what went on, you want to then move forward. You want to move forward. You don't want to stay in that place. That place is no longer where you ought to be. That Egypt is no longer where it is. You want to get out of that Egypt into the new life. You want to get out of that Egypt would represent bondage. That familiarity, you want to get out of it. So I just want to take this moment and say, I want to thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you. I know you might find that I talk a lot about God. And the reason why I do that is because without Him, it's impossible. It was impossible for me to see anything else. It was impossible for me to gain an understanding of anything else. But when you have, as I have, made a decision a very, very long time ago in my, not even in my youth, before I became a youth, in my childhood, I made that decision that I wanted to see people well and heal and whole. And I wanted to live in the temple of the Holy Spirit. It says, the Lord is my light and my salvation, and whom shall I fear? The Lord is a stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they will stumble and fall. And oh, how I believe that. I believe it with all my soul. The Lord is my shepherd, I, Verna, shall not want. A day I wanted to walk away from work, but one of my boss said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And she gave me a Gideon Bible with 5 Psalms that I should read and put myself in there. And that's what I did up to now. I still do that. So I just want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you that whatever you're going through, there is a way out. So I just want to take this moment to say thank you and to give you the opportunity that you can get these books. It's not about me selling you something. It's about something that has been given, and I want to share what can be done and how you can use them to help yourself and how you can grow and how you can develop. Because we all read books, one book or the other. And this is a collection, it's a collection of books that would help you take you from one level to another. So I just want to say, you know, give me a call. When you get it, give me a call. If you want me to read with you, I will, because there are some people that I read with. I read to them. If that is something you would like, and as somebody said to me, have I got it in audio? And I said no. And they said, but you need to get it in audio so we can hear your voice. You can put that passion in there. I am passionate about what I do. I've been in here I've been doing working with people for over 30 years, whether it is in doing therapy and in my therapy work. Um, I inject everything into that because everything comes from the inside out. So if this message today resonates with you, I'd like you to put a heart in the comments. and to share it with someone. Somebody might need this message today, and you can share it with them. So thank you very much for listening with me today. God bless. See you next time.
What happens when life tries to break you? When the pain is unimaginable, the losses are overwhelming, and every step forward feels impossible. There comes a moment, a choice. Will you surrender or will you rise? From breast cancer survivor to survivor of domestic abuse to inspiring thousands around the world, Verna Haywood shares a deeply personal journey of courage, healing, and transformation. This isn't just a story about surviving, it's about rediscovering your purpose, reclaiming your voice, and becoming stronger than the challenges you never asked for. Discover Unstoppable Resilience, Heal, Rise, and Reclaim Your Power by Verna Haywood. Continue the journey on the Unstoppable Life with Verna Haywood exclusively on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.